Hello all, it's Marco from Random Door Media. My last video I put out was a look at the game City of Heroes. This happens to be my favorite massive multiplayer game, so I decided to do another video on it. This video is going to be going over some of the tutorial missions, just to give people an idea of how to get started in the game. So right now we're going to be checking out the City of Heroes one, so I made just a simple character, natural scrapper with some martial arts and ninja reflexes for powers. Once you're ready to complete your character, do you want to play the tutorial? Yes, if you're a new player, you have three options: Outbreak, Breakout, and Galaxy City. Once upon a time, there was only Outbreak available, which was the hero tutorial area. Heroes are urged to help contain the outbreak in a small section of Paragon City that has been locked down and quarantined. When City of Villains got added, they also included Breakout, where your character starts out in a prison, and you participate in a scenario where you break out of prison. Then, over time, they added in the Galaxy City tutorial, where the originally Galaxy City was a neighborhood on its own, but it was devastated by a Shivan meteor, and then it became a new tutorial mission. There's also a fourth one, so I might do these two per video. The fourth one is the Going Rogue tutorial, but for now I'm going to start off as Outbreak, because we're going to do them in order. We'll do the Hero one, Outbreak, and then we'll do the Villain one. Okay, so now I've started off in the tutorial mission, pretty straightforward. I got a few simple powers, which you see down here in the lower right, which I'll move up to the middle so you can see them better. My martial artist power: Storm Kick, a simple sprint, which I'm going to turn on right now, a default punch, which everybody gets, and my ninja reflexes, which I'm just going to activate right now. Ninja reflexes are a toggle power, so you turn them on or off. Usually if it's a defense power, once it's on, it usually just stays on. And I'm going to go in here and grab my throwing knives. A long time ago, the game developers added in these sort of like default starting powers. They're just like minor attack powers to help you at the lower levels. And they're based on your origin, so because I have a natural origin, I get the throwing knives. To get started, I'm going to speak to the first contact, which is Officer Flint. He's telling you about the crisis that's going on here. Some thugs took an experimental drug, thinking it was something else, and now they're trashing the area. We need to gain control of the scenario, gain control of the situation. I will accept that task. Wants me to go bring the serum to Dr. Miller. Throughout, you'll find these information areas. If you click on them, they'll have some information, such as this one, which tells you how to move around with the WASD keys. Over here is the P2W, or the Pay to Win Field Agent. This NPC offers you these powers. Some of them have cost, some of them are for free. They used to be powers that you could get when you subscribe to the game. Currently the game doesn't have any subscription model, but when you did subscribe, the longer you subscribed, the more months you racked up, the more of these temporary powers you had access to. I would suggest not using these for now. This NPC is available once you get into the full game. Just check out the tutorial just to get you started. In the meantime, my mission is to go deliver the serum to Dr. Miller, who's right over here. Since you're new to Paragon City, you should familiarize yourself with the way hospitals work. He wants us to go to the information terminal, which has information on the hospital. So essentially, if you get knocked out, you'll respawn at a nearby hospital. Because this game is quite old, it'll have its 20-year anniversary in a couple months. There's no voice acting. You'll notice the graphics are pretty old. There's no voice acting, so there's a lot of text. So there's a lot of stuff to read. But if you want to take the time to read the text from NPCs and your contacts, there's a lot of good stories to be seen there. I'm already familiar with all this. If you want to read what's here, maybe pause the video or jump into the game and check it out yourself. So right now he's going to introduce me to a new contact, Officer Parks. And he's already lit up on my screen telling me where to go. So I'm just make my way down to Officer Parks. This part of the city is all barren because it's been quarantined. Apparently there are some people with some kind of contaminated sickness. And these floating drones here will dispatch enemies instantly. If you find yourself in trouble and with enemies that you can't defeat, if you get near one of these drones, they'll just zap it and take the enemy out instantly. So, I'm here to speak to Officer Parks. He's going to tell you about your powers. Powers will appear down in the tray and how to activate them. There, now he's going to have me talk to Professor Hoffman. And when you talk to Professor Hoffman, he talks about how to determine the difficulties of enemies. When you consider an enemy, their different color ranges will indicate how tough they are. Gray meaning they're way beneath you, white means they're even, red means they're way above you. And there's also the 3 different types too. There's minions, which are the weakest, lieutenants, and then bosses. And later on you'll find 2 more, the elite boss, which are tougher bosses, and villains, which pretty much take a group to take down. And then this guy will tell you how to use your powers. So once the powers are in your tray, you use the appropriate number key. So, for example, I can target this drone and press number 1, and that will activate my storm kick. I can press number 4, and that will activate my punch, or number 5 to activate my throwing knives. And those are all customizable down in the tray, which I'll bring up here to see easier. These can be all moved around, and over time you can have more trays as well. There's a lot of customization options available in this game. But for now, I'm going to go back to speak to Officer Parks. So now he says, hey, I hear that you're a hero with some pretty nifty powers. Go beat up 2 bad guys for me so I can see how good you are. So I'm going to go over here and just beat up 2 of these contaminated scavengers. You don't start off fighting bats and rats like you do in a lot of fantasy role-playing games. And that's it. 2 enemies are done. Back to Officer Parks. And he says, hey, here's how your hit points and endurance work. If you end up with 0 hit points, you have the option of teleporting back to the hospital. And then he'll have me speak to Sergeant Hicks, who has more information. Of course, if you're actually going to be playing the game and you haven't played the game before, take the time to actually read all this. I'm just sort of giving you a quick run-through to give you an idea of how this looks. So I'll speak to Sergeant Hicks. And he's going to give me some inspirations. Inspirations are these temporary power-ups. You'll notice they appear down here in the inspiration tray. The red one will give you a boost to damage, and the green one will heal you a bit. And they come in 3 different sizes. You get them randomly just as you fight. When you have them, use them because you will get more as you level up. For now, he wants me to beat up 4 more of these contaminated scavengers, so let's do that. Using my mighty ruby ninja powers against them. I can throw my knife at that guy. The throwing knives is a minor power. I probably wouldn't still be using that after level 10 or so. But now that I beat up the 4 guys, I'll go back to the contact, and he gives me an enhancement this time. Here he'll describe how the enhancement works, but he wants me to go over here to talk to his information booth to learn more about enhancements. Now, you can, if you do a search on the internet for City of Heroes manual, you can actually download a copy of the manual, which goes into super details about how to play the game. Much more detail than the tutorial did. And you can get the manual just for free. Just go and download it. But the tutorial does a good job of getting you started and gives you the basics. Hey, so he wants me to go speak to Coyote. Before we do that, though, let's take a look at the enhancements that he just gave us. So he gave us damage enhancements. Right now, I only have 2 powers that can accept damage enhancements, my Storm Kick and my Brawl. Brawl is something I'm not going to be using eventually, so I'm not going to bother putting an enhancement in there. Ninja Reflexes is a defense power, so damage doesn't go in there. Now I'll make my way down here to go speak to Coyote. And let's see what this person has to say. Looks like you're learning your stuff, Ruby Ninja. Let's finish this job with one last task I'd like to undertake. Certainly. So, long story short, he wants us to go to a building to clear out the thugs and rescue Flower Knight and get the formula. So Flower Knight will be an NPC hero that will be in the mission that will help us. This is going to be an instant mission. So far we've been fighting enemies just outside. Instant missions will usually take you to an opening, like a doorway of some kind. Now you can only go into a building that you actually have a mission. If I was to go up to here and click on this door, it says you cannot enter. But since I do have a mission over here where it's directed me to, I will be able to go in that building. There, so this building I can enter because I have a mission. It's an instant mission, which means it's only my mission. No one else, if anyone else clicked on that door, they would get that you cannot enter message. So I see Flower Knight in the background. There's a whole bunch of bad guys in the way. So let's take care of these. Start off with the throwing knives. And then Storm Kick. Takes that guy out. A punch over here. Throwing knife in the face. Another punch. Storm Kick on this guy. Throwing knife to the face. Punch and... Oh, not out. Oh, get back here. Now I wish I had my throwing knives. Storm Kick. Punch. Throwing knife to the face. You'd think that Flower Knight would maybe want to help. But right now she's just an NPC. So, thanks for saving me, Ruby Ninja. Those thugs overpowered me. Really? You're a level 2 boss. How did the thugs overpower you? Anyways, that's all part of the story. So now we have to defeat the rest of the thugs and find the formula. There's a thug up there, so I'm going to draw him in with a throwing knife and then finish him off. We got more guys, but now I was going to say I have Flower Knight here to help. Okay, here she comes. Where is she? There she is. Oh! We got ambushed from behind. You notice my character's barely taken any damage. The tutorial is just a tutorial. It's usually pretty easy. You're probably not going to get defeated unless you're really bad. So we have over here the formula. So it's a glowing object that makes this random humming noise. Click on that to search it. Searching computer, and that part of the quest is done, but the mission's not done because we still have to defeat all the thugs. We have a couple of guys down here. But now this time we got Flower Knight to help us. And there we go. Mission complete, level up. At level 2. When you level up, you get all these inspirations, which you'll see in the upper right there. That's great if you level up in the middle of a mission, but since this mission is over, those boosts don't really help us because they only last like about 30 seconds or so. You could kind of look at inspirations kind of like potions from a fantasy game. The green one is kind of like a healing potion, and the red one's like a strength potion that gives you bonus on damage. It's kind of like that. They're consumable items that give you a temporary boost. Okay, so now I gotta find my contact, Coyote, who's over there, and turn this mission in. So although I leveled up, you don't actually get your level or get any powers associated with it until you visit a named NPC that are in all the different zones. And I'm pretty sure that he's probably going to tell us to do that too. Fantastic! I'll take this formula to Dr. Miller so we can finally end this nightmare. I see you have enough experience to reach level 2. Notice the arrow in your status circle? You need to visit a signature hero to raise your security level and receive a new power. Visit Miss Liberty in Atlas Park. Once upon a time, you used to have two options. You could visit Atlas Park or Galaxy City. They were two different zones that you could start in. But you might have noticed Galaxy City is one of the tutorials now. That's because the story is that the neighborhood of Galaxy City has been demolished, and now it's just a tutorial zone. So for now, we're going to just visit Ms. Liberty and Atlas Park. Bit more information here, so it tells us we're level 2, go see Ms. Liberty. When you first start a character, it tells you that your character is new and may need help. You have the option to flag yourself as needing help from other players with a specially colored name. You can also flag yourself as a helper. I'm just going to choose none in the meantime. So Miss Liberty is right there. We can take a look at some of the other heroes that are already here. And the Miss Liberty will give us the option to train up. We also have the option of customizing your appearance, which you can do from here or from a tailor shop. I'm just going to take a look at my next level. Welcome to Security Level 2. You got a new power. You also gain Fitness and Rest, which are default powers. Since I'm a scrapper and I've chosen Martial Arts and Ninjutsu, I get to choose from one of those two. I am going to go with the Cobra Strike because offense is the best defense. So I'm going to focus more on offense before going defense. But that's not really going to matter because that's going to be it for this character. I just made this character so we can take a look at the City of Heroes tutorial Outbreak. Stay tuned and we'll come back and we'll take a look at the City of Villains tutorial Breakout. Now for my villain character, I have Tammy Torch, a mutated human who developed fire and atomic powers as a teenager. Unfortunately, she decided to use her newfound powers for ill deeds and found herself in prison. So yes, we are going to play the tutorial, and we are going to go with Breakout. Villain can take advantage of a breakout from Sigursi Penitentiary, where Longbow is struggling to regain control. Complete characterization after the game, yes. So it'll just take a moment. I'll just quickly set up the powers that I have available. Welcome to City of Villains. A short tutorial will go over the basics of gameplay, very similar to the City of Heroes tutorial. So I just need to quickly set up my powers. I'm also going to grab my mutation power, just like the previous one. So since this is a mutation character, I have Mutagen, where my previous character was Natural, who had throwing knives. The basics of the tutorial are very similar, they're just played out in a different way, the different story, because now you're in prison, and you're going to be speaking with prisoners in order to help break out. Not sure what happened, looks like some kind of big explosion shook a bunch of the cells. So just like before, if you wanted to read the text, then pause the video, take a look at it, or better yet, jump on the game, take a look at it yourself. I'm going to go with the available missions. So now, he wants me to go find the nurse. We have a nurse over here. Nurse is cowering and scared because we are a terrible, evil person. You want pain relievers? We'll get some of the pain relievers. And then that will bring us back to our first contact. And he'll introduce us to one of these, and you get a choice. At this point, it doesn't really matter. Later on in the game, when you have a choice, then the contacts basically will give you certain enemy types and different stories. Like if you went with one contact, you might be fighting the technological clockwork, but if you chose another person, you might be fighting like the skulls or something like that. For here, it doesn't really make a difference, so I'm just going to pick the first guy. And if you're a person who loves badge hunting, City of Heroes and City of Villains is unbelievably full of badges. And one of the badges you can get right away in the City of Villains is hidden inside one of these cells. Maybe it's all, I think it's all the way at the end. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so if you look down on the chat area, you earned the Jailbird badge. So if you're a person who's like gung-ho about getting all badges and 100%, that's where you get that badge. And it's the only place that that badge is available. Anyways, on to speaking with the contact. You call yourself Tammy Torch, that's cool. Well, I could hook you up with who you need to get out of here, but with all the guards, heroes, and escaped prisoners running around, you're going to need whatever that says, a little strength. Let's just accept the task. So he wants us to talk to Mr. Birdie, who's up here on the balcony. And he appears to be a troll. Trolls are an enemy type in the game. They're basically humans that like overdosed on this serum called Superdyne. Just like this guy says. Angel says he wants Superdyne, eh? Well, Mies does owe him some. I give you a few doses. Make sure that Angel gets his all right. That's not me speaking terribly. That is actually how the trolls talk. The troll enemies speak in broken language. Just like their NPC and the hero tutorial, this person tells you about like how to determine different enemies' difficulties. Uh-oh, so now we got some Arachnos soldiers holding up a prison guard. And over here we want to speak to this guy. And he's going to tell us about hit points and endurance and how to use your powers. Now he wants me to go down here, so it looks like somebody blew open a hole in the floor here, which leads down to the sewer. We speak to Blake. He'll talk about the different powers. And then he wants us to go speak to Morbin. So it looks like somebody's going to help us break out of this place. And he gives us an enhancement. I'll exit and look for the next contact person who's right over there. But he did give us an enhancement, so let's take a look at that. My fire blast is damaged, so I'm going to put a damage enhancement in it. And my electron shackles also do damage, so I'll put a damage enhancement there too. Okay, so now let's go speak to this guy, see what he wants. Lord Recluse, the most glorious leader of Arachnos, thinks that you may be a predestined soul. His Fortunata Kalinda has seen that you may well be one of those that can lead Arachnos to eventual victory of the heroes of Paragon City, so on and so forth. Story. Accept his mission. And he wants us to defeat two Zig combatants. The prison area that we're in is called the Ziggurat because of its shape. And so now we're basically fighting our way out. So we need to take out two prisoners. So I have a couple of range powers to do this with. Oh, those guys are running. There, that's it. So you need to take out two enemies. And then go speak to this guy again. Who now gave me inspirations, just like I talked about in the previous video. Now he wants us to beat two more. So the character I'm playing is a blaster, which means that they have good damage output, low or little defense. One of the powers I have is an immobilization power, so you can use that to keep enemies at bay. And the other one is just a straightforward fire attack. So now he wants us to go speak to the Arachnos pilot. You can just run your way through here. It's pretty simple, even though there's all these enemies here. Just stay away from them and they won't do anything. So I'll just run all the way through here. Uh-oh. And make my way to the Arachnos pilot. So you see Arachnos soldiers are fighting the city guards. And over here is the Arachnos helicopter thingy with a pilot. Well, you've arrived. So he has a mission before he'll take us out of here. We have to do this mission, so we have to head back, plant a bomb, and defeat all the guards inside. This is also a, this tutorial I've also done approximately 938 times. Plus or minus some. Oh, you have a bit of a cutscene. Defeat enemies around Jenkins to rescue him, then click on the bomb to arm it. This would be pretty cool if voice acting was added in, but it is what it is. You won't get me to spill the name of Tammy Torch that easy. Oh yeah. So Tammy Torch to the rescue. It's kind of weird for a villain to say, but... Wow, that punch barely hurt the guy. Okay, so we have to plant the bomb and defeat all guards. And Jenkins here will assist us. So we got some backup. We have a guard over here. Oh, I hear the glowy sound of a objective. And there is the bomb. Usually if it's something that you're placing like a bomb, it shows up transparent until you click on it. And that's it. There's the mission complete and the level up. So City of Villains has different like music compared to City of Heroes. And now I just head back to the pilot. I know exactly where to go, but if you ever lose track, you can go to the contact listing and select them, and then it'll appear on your indicator automatically. So now he'll take us away. Just like I mentioned with City of Heroes, you have two options. You can either go to Mercy Island and make Kalinda Fortunata as your starting contact, or go to Mercy Island and have Burke as your starting contact. It will describe, it does describe the two characters. They're both similar in that they're both contacts, but they do have sort of different starting missions. So I'm just going to pick Burke by default just so we can get over there. You have enough to go up to level 2, go to speak to Arbiter Diaz. And then just like City of Heroes, you get the option of flagging yourself for help or be a helper. And there's not as many people running around here as the hero side, but there are still... I saw one person running by. So now, Matthew Burke is my contact who's over there, but Kalinda's right over here. And if I want, I could still get her missions too. So there you have the option, but I'm going to go to the Arbiter here, so he can give me my level 2 powers. Oh, sorry, my mistake. This isn't the guy. This is another contact with more missions. Sorry. This is the Arbiter, the guy in the silvery outfits with the cape. Nope, that's a quartermaster. This is the Arbiter, the guy with the green circle under... Note to editor Marco, cut this part out. Okay, so now that I'm speaking to an Arbiter, I'm going to train up to a new level of power. And just like with Ms. Liberty in the last one, they'll tell us about some of the default powers we get. I'm just going to go and get my Fireball, which is a area effect power. Offense is the better defense, and that's it. So this character's level 2. So that was an introduction to both the City of Heroes Outbreak tutorial mission and the City of Villains Breakout tutorial mission. If you're interested in either of them, check out the game. I'll have a link in the description on how to get started. If you haven't looked at it already, take a look at my What the Heck is City of Heroes to get more information on it. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it entertaining and or educational. And don't forget, if you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Take a look at some of the other videos. I got like over 100 videos on various topics. On another video, I'll talk about the other 2 tutorial starting areas, the Galaxy City and the Going Rogue. But that's going to be it for this video. Take care, everyone.